Hi, Tanukis. I hope you're all well. You're all staying safe and looking after your families, being nice to everyone, which I'm sure you are. It's a gorgeous day, so I hope you get out to enjoy the sunshine and try your best this weekend as well if you can to go for your walks and just enjoy it the best you can. Right? And we're going to continue on with the Secret Seven, and we're on to chapter 8. Another meeting. We're more than halfway through the book, so next week we'll probably finish up, I imagine. There is 12 chapters, so we'll finish by next week, and then moving on to our next one. It's by an author you already like, so I'll tell you more next week. Chapter 8, another meeting. The meeting that afternoon was very interesting and full of excitement. Everyone had something to report. They came punctually to the old shed, giving the password without a pause. Punctually is a great word. I love punctuality. Means being on time. Weekdays. One after another, the Secret Seven passed in, and soon they were all sitting around the shed. They all looked very important. Scamper sat by Peter and Janet, his long ears drooping down like a judge's wig, making him look very wise. Pam and George, you report first, said Peter. So they reported, telling how they had found out that the old house had been sold to a Mr. J. Holocaust some time back, although he had never lived in it. Did you get his address? Asked Peter. It might be important. Yes, said George, and produced his notebook. He read the address. Good. We might have to get in touch with him if we find that he ought to know that something queer is going on in his empty house, said Peter. Pam and George felt very proud of themselves. Then the two girls reported. They told how they had discovered that the tracks had come down from the direction of the town of Templeton and had gone around to the gates of the old house, where it was plain that they had stopped, as Jack had noticed the night before, when he heard the car. Then they told how the tracks had gone into this field, circled round, and come out again, and had clearly gone up the lane and back the way they came. Good work, said Peter. Janet took out her notebook and went rather red in the face. Ooh. I've just got this to report too, she said, showing the page of the notebook on which she had tried to draw the tyre pattern. I don't expect it's much use, really. It's the pattern on the tyres of the van or trailer or lorry or whatever it was that was pulled behind the car. And I measured the width, too. Everyone looked at the scribbled pattern. It didn't look like much, but Peter seemed pleased. Even if it's no use, it was a good idea to do it, he said. Just suppose it was some use and the snow had melted. Your drawing will be the only pattern we had to track down the tyres. Yes, said Colin warmly. I think that was good, Janet. Janet glowed with pride. Great phrase there. She put away her notebook. Now you three boys report, she said, as if she had Now you three boys report, she said, though she herself had already heard part of it from Peter while they were waiting for the others to come that afternoon. Peter made the report for the three of them. Everyone listened in silence, looking very thrilled. So you see, finished Peter, somebody went through to the old house last night, got in through the kitchen door, because the footsteps went right to there. And I think they left a prisoner behind. Pam gasped. A prisoner? What do you mean? Well, isn't it clear that there was a prisoner in that big windowless van? A prisoner who was not to be seen or heard. Someone who was dragged around to the kitchen and forced inside, and hidden somewhere in that house. Someone who was hurt and squealed loudly enough for even the old deaf caretaker to hear, said Peter. Everyone looked upset and uncomfortable. I don't like it, said Colin. Nobody liked it. It was horrid to think of a poor, squealing prisoner locked up somewhere in that old, empty house. What about his food, said Colin at last. Yes, and water to drink, said Janet. And why is he locked up there? Kidnapped, perhaps, said Jack. You know, this is really serious if we're right. There was a silence. Ought we to tell our parents, asked Pam. Or the police, said Jack. Wait, not till we get a little bit more, said Peter. There might be some quite simple explanation for all this. A car losing its way or something. I've just thought of something, said Jack. That van. Could it have been some sort of ambulance, do you think? You know, the van that ill people are taken to in hospitals in, Maybe it was, and the car was took the wrong turning and stopped when it found it had gone wrong, and the ill person cried out with pain or something. But the caretaker said he heard squealing too inside the house, said Peter. Still, that might have been some noises in his head, of course, like those he says he sometimes has. Well, it's an idea, Jack. It might have been an ambulance called by a car, though I can't say I've ever seen one like the one you describe. Ooh, there we go. Anyway, we better not tell anyone till we've proved there's something queer going on, said Colin. We should feel so silly if we reported all this to the police, and then they found it was just something perfectly ordinary. Right, we'll keep the whole thing secret, said Peter. But of course, we've got to do something about it ourselves. We can't leave it. Of course we've got to do something, said George. But what? We'll think, said Peter. So they all thought again. What would be the best move to make next? I've thought of something, said Jack at last. It's a bit frightening, though. Whatever is it? Chorused the others. Well, it seems to me that if there is a prisoner locked up in one of the rooms of the old house, he will have to be fed and given water, said Jack. So whoever does that would have to visit him at night. See? So what about us taking in turns at night to go and watch outside the old house to see who goes in? And then we might even follow them and see where they go and who they've got there. It seems like a very good idea, said Peter. But we'd have to watch two at a time. I wouldn't want to go and hide somewhere there all by myself. I think that probably someone will be along tonight, said George. Why shouldn't all four of us boys go and wait in hiding? It will be difficult for the four of us to hide and not be seen, said Colin. Well, let's drape ourselves in white sheets or something and go and join the snowmen in the field, said Peter jokingly. To his surprise, the other three boys pounced on his idea eagerly. Oh, yes, Peter, that's fine. Nobody would ever guess that we weren't snowmen if we had something white around us, said Colin. We get quite a good view of the lane and could see and hear anyone coming along, said George. Two could follow anyone into the house, and two remain on guard outside as snowmen, to give warning in case the other two got into trouble, said Jack. I'd love to stand there with the snowmen. We'd have to wrap up jolly warmly, though. Can't we girls come too, said Pam. I don't want to, said Barbara. No, said Peter. I'm sorry, but 7 is too many. We'll have more chance of success if there are only 4 of us. What about Scamper? Asked Jack, his eyes gleaming with excitement. Shall we take him? We'd better, I think, said Peter. He'll be absolutely quiet if I tell him. I'll make him a little white coat, said Janet. Then he won't be seen either. He'll look like a big lump of snow or something. They were all started to feel very excited. What time shall we go? Asked Colin. Well, it was about 9:30, wasn't it, when the men arrived last night, said Jack. We'll make it the same time then. Meet here at about 9 tonight. My goodness, this is a bit of excitement, isn't it? Right. So as you can tell, it's kind of an older book because the boys did all the work and the girls stayed back and looked after and made coats. So while the book is lovely, it is a bit old-fashioned at times. We're going to chapter 9 next, which is called Out into the Night. We'll go to that on Monday. In the meantime, have a great weekend. I hope you've got lots of plans. Not doing too much work, I hope. For me, the hair is going. Got everything I need now. So judge it on Monday. And we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.